Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talk about the world we live in. Meaning the world we really live in. Not the world we think. Or we want to think that we live in. People, we live in a corporation. A company. One big company. And if any of you have ever worked for a big company, you will know they put out a pretty picture of what they are all about to the public. So they don't get into trouble. And they can keep on pushing their product. But the workers will tell you something different. The workers at such a company will tell you they've been lied to and tricked by managers and upper management. They will tell you they don't have the proper tools to do their job because the company is too cheap to spend the money to get the proper tools needed so the workers can be more productive. And because the workers are using the cheapest of the cheapest tools. When there is a problem with productivity and timeliness, it's blamed on the worker, not the tools. You constantly feel as if your job is in jeopardy and you may be at any moment unemployed. You are gaslit every day at work regarding a variety of topics and a variety of concerns. And the list goes on and on. And you know at the end of the day, it comes down to money. You know those at the top of this company aren't just rich. They are wealthy so many times over you can never get rid of that kind of wealth. Well, God can get rid of it if He so chooses. But you know what I mean. But these people are so darn wealthy. But the problem is they want more. To the point of it costing the livelihoods of human beings. And guess what? They don't care. They don't care at all. Because it's the process of destroying others and keeping others under their feet is what they enjoy. Seeing a few extra zeros on their daily printout is just a byproduct of the evil they do. Well, I have news for you. You don't just work for such a company like this in your daily life. You live in such a company. And those at the top of the pyramid are only concerned about your destruction and adding extra zeros to their daily printouts. And just like many companies are shrinking workforces due to automation and outsourcing, the company that you live in is doing the same thing. I want you to understand what I just said. The company that you live in has realized you are too costly. Yes, that's right. And in order to keep adding zeros to their daily printouts, they must get rid of you and others like you. And guess what? They enjoy the process. And what is this process? It's a process of getting you to willingly destroy yourself. You see, family is the backbone of societies. And if strong families exists, that means there will always be strong competition for those individual big companies out there. Because with each generation of a strong family, the chances of them catching up to the wealthy and the powerful increases. And they don't want the average person to reach this status. They know that if you and you are given the chance to live in a healthy family home, the sky's the limits. And beyond, I should say. And then when you have your children, their chances are even better than yours. So forth and so on. And before you know it, the rich and powerful are no longer rich and powerful. So what these people at the top of the pyramid have done is devised ways and methods to get you in the general public to willingly destroy yourself and any chance you and your family would have at a successful life. Let me explain. You see, I talk about narcissistic abuse on this channel. What it's like being raised in a home with a narcissistic parent or parents. Dealing with toxic spouses and such. And how this can hurt one's chances at a successful life. But even though I help out both men and women in this regard, I also talk about how men have been marginalized and destroyed by our wicked society. And how good women have gone down a very dark path, due to what they've been pushed and taught over the years. And in doing this, though it's talking about men's issues, it both, in my opinion, helps both men and women. But amongst the dialogue, discussions, and even at times disagreements, the point is sadly missed. These things that are done to destroy men and women relationships is being done on purpose by those at the top of the pyramid as a way to reduce the workforce they no longer need in order for them to remain profitable. Remember, This is a company you live in. And those at the top of the pyramid have ice and evil running through their veins. They can tell you anything, even though it's not good for you. And have no problem that what they just told you and sold you might destroy your very life. You see, myself and many others that talk about such issues don't talk about them with glee in our heart. That men and women relationships are a complete mess. We talk about it with a great sadness and a great heaviness that makes us feel bad. We must address such topics. But just like narcissistic abuse, which this is also a part of narcissistic abuse, but narcissistic abuse that affects both men and women. We all talk about it because it's been hidden for so many years. Our parents tried to make everyone think we were crazy when we were really abused. And now we have a voice. And we use this voice to make sure no one else finds themselves in the same situation we lived and grew up in. And if they are in such a situation, they can get out as fast as they can. Well, when we are talking about men's issues on this channel, it follows the exact same path. What I urge you to do is listen to some men here on YouTube talk about men's issues. And you will find though the terminology is a bit different, but they mean the exact same things here in the narcissistic abuse community. The exact same things. Here's a good one. Monkey branching. This is what many in the MGTOW community talk about. This is when a woman leaves a man for another man that has more resources. And this woman keeps swinging from branch to branch, never letting go of the previous branch until she has another branch or victim firmly in her grasp. Now, isn't this the same thing we talk about in the narcissistic abuse community? Where the narcissist, no matter it be a female or male, always has another victim all groomed and ready to go before they discard their previous one. It's exactly the same thing, but with one major difference. Those that run this corporation we live in has made female monkey branching, or discarding after she has secured a new victim, to be seen as normal and accepted by our society. Think about it. If you were to talk about openly tomorrow in public with friends or co-workers regarding a male doing such a thing, he would be considered an awful human being. There would be no acceptance in such a conversation regarding a man doing such a thing. But then talk about it with a woman doing the monkey branching, and you will notice a different conversation happen. It will be talked about as an accepted part of female nature, and even defended as being correct and okay for her to do such a thing. But we must ask ourselves, where did we get this information it was okay? That it was normal? That narcissistic abuse against another was normal? Because again, folks, what many defend as normal behavior from many women out there is narcissistic abuse. And I say this with all sadness in my heart. But who is pushing this? And why are they pushing this? Well, it's being pushed on us by those that are at the top of the pyramid that are now interested in reducing the workforce. Don't you get it? They don't need you anymore. The skyscrapers are built. They have all the zillions of dollars they will ever need. Your work is done here. And most of our jobs are flimsy at best. And having you be healthy-minded with a healthy family doesn't work into their world plan. These people, if you can call them that, I think demons are a better name for them. These demons have this all planned and mapped out. And they've had it all planned and mapped out for a long time. I've talked about many times. Let's make the marriage and divorce laws fair. If signing a paper with the state is so important. And guess what happens? Nothing. You don't think they don't see the families being destroyed? Children growing up in fractured homes. Drug use and abuse is on the rise. Self-destructive behavior in all forms is through the roof. You don't think they don't see that? Heck, they engineered it. They are the architects of the pain and misery you see. They come up with the most evil plans that will destroy you and everyone else around you. And sadly, what many do because they've been taken by the matrix, they say, oh, it's really not like that. You're promoting not getting married. How dare you? So forth and so on. They accuse me and many others of a variety of such things. However, they will never address. How can a person recommend something that is failing and causing so much pain? That's right. These divorce and family court laws are designed to cause hell and pain in the lives of those that enter into such realms. I for the record believe biblical marriage is a wonderful thing, when ordained by God. But this man-made mishmash that destroys lives is designed by the evil ones at the top of the pyramid to watch you and your children suffer. Now if we are to be entering into this man-made mishmash, do yourself a favor and stand up and fight to change the laws. Watch what will happen to you. Watch how many people will attack you and fight against you. Now why would that be? Can't those attacking you see these laws are directly affecting people in a negative way? Can't they see that? Yes, they can. They are attacking you because just like the narcissist. And many of these people are. They feed on the pain. And they don't want to change the system at all. Because the system provides them with the supply they need. Think about it for a moment. What does the narcissist do when they think you're trying to take away their supply? They go into a narcissistic rage, right? I have news for you. The people that fight tooth and nail to keep things as is are having the same narcissistic rage. What I would like you to do is type on the YouTube search area "Men on Strike," and you will find a few videos from Dr. Helen Smith that wrote this book Men on Strike. And in these videos you will find some where she's interviewed by the mainstream media. And what I want you to do for me when you're watching this interview, I want you to do what we've talked about. I want you to slow things down and observe everything that is going on. And more than likely you will notice each and every time someone like Dr. Helen Smith or anyone else interviewed about such topics are always put on the defensive, where they have to prove their claims that men are abused. And they get hit with attack after attack, almost as if to say their claims are false and non-existent. They may not come straight out and say that, but they use several narcissistic tactics to get this feeling across. Now, what I want you to do is replay this interview in your mind and picture them talking about women being abused. Do you think a woman or a man standing up for abused women would be put on the defensive? Do you think they would try to gaslight them or use shaming tactics? Of course they wouldn't. But you must dig deep and ask yourself why. Why would they be doing such things? And the answer is simple. We live in a corporation that is reducing its workforce. And they have written the narrative to get people to destroy themselves willingly. And it's working. And if anyone gets up and challenges that narrative, they slap them down. Think about what would happen to you Monday if you challenged something the big company you work for was doing that you knew wasn't right. Yup. Exactly. They would marginalize you and figure out a way to silence your voice and have you fired. Well, this corporation we live in is exactly, and I do mean exactly, the same way. The main difference is you now have a platform. You can write books. You can tell your story here or on other platforms. You can rewrite the narrative if you so choose to do so. And sadly, I think there are some people out there that believe they are good, but don't want to rewrite the narrative because they like the matrix and slavery system they are living in. Here's an example I want to give. Let's say tomorrow they said they will be stopping all cars on the highway for speeding, except for blue cars. For whatever reason they give. How many people that have blue cars would give them up because it's the right thing to do? How many would protest and say this new law has nothing to do with keeping our roads safe? That's right, barely anyone. Why? Well, even if this person with a blue car for the most part drives safely and within the law, there might be that day when they could be running late for work or somewhere else important. And they will use the fact they have a blue car to speed through traffic and not be held responsible for their actions. That's the key part. To not be held responsible for their actions. Well, at the same time, I believe there are many women out there that deem themselves to be good for whatever reasons they have. However, they don't want the system to change. Because they know, if they have a life slip up, let's say, they've been with a man for 5 or 6 years. And though the man she's with loves her greatly and they have what one would consider a happy and good relationship, but each day she gets more and more unsatisfied. She sees her friends and co-workers going on these great and wonderful trips around the world. And because the man she's with doesn't have a lot of money, she trades him. She trades him in for another man. She monkey branches to another man that may be morally bankrupt. But she simply trades up. Because of her worldly needs. Well, with society's rules in how we live, this is seen sadly as normal. And okay. You go, girl. You do what you have to do type of attitude. Now what if she was married to the first man and had a child with him? And she still traded up and monkey branched. Well, in this society she knows she won't be held responsible. Even though she destroyed a perfectly good family. But if the laws changed, and what society thinks is right and wrong changed, she would have to answer and be held responsible for her actions. Again, some of these women might not have done such a thing yet. But they know they are human. And they know a slip-up might happen. And just like the blue car, they want the ability to speed without being held responsible. And if someone came out against blue cars, or making the laws fair again, those that have blue cars would be pushing back. Because they don't want to lose their privilege. Well, this is the same in the man-woman relationships we have today. Watch these interviews. And ask yourself, why are they attacking this person when they are just speaking the truth? And why does this person doing the attacking seem as fake as a $3 bill? It's all a game, people. It's all a game. And it's a game we willingly play that was designed by those at the top of the pyramid. It was designed by those that run the corporation we live in. The corporation that was designed for our doom. They are cutting our role in this society. And you have a choice. To let it happen. Or stand up for what is right. I can't say standing up will fix anything. Because it might not. But it might. I mean, I know those that control things aren't going to change laws because they now have a change of heart. But they might change things because they are just trying to keep things calm before they come up with their next trick. Society is collapsing, people. It's going away. Because the family has been destroyed. And now everyone is running amok. And just like many of us have gone no contact with our narcissistic families, there are many of men. Yes, many of them Christian men as well. Have said, you know, the Bible has warned me about such evil women. And it tells me the good women are rare like a ruby. And they see all the tricks and lies in our society. So they've chosen to go no contact with evil marriage and divorce laws, rules, and wicked societal norms. Because when we play the game with the narcissist in our lives, we know there is no winning. That's why no contact is so important if we can manage that. Well, many of men see this as their only choice as well. No contact. Just like the blue car analogy. Talk to those in the law profession. And they will tell you if they are being honest. The common thing that happens in most divorces is the once nice wife goes after the man with everything she has got to avoid a 50-50 split. And this usually results in false accusations of abuse towards herself and the children. Restraining orders are issued against the man to kick him out of the family home. And before you know it, she has control of everything. This is a cookie-cutter template, the average woman. Maybe not you. I must stress that. Because there are some good women out there. But the average woman, this is their template. Again, think about narcissistic abuse. Think about the template they follow. So much so all of us worldwide of the same stories. Well, this divorce template is so widespread now everyone knows the game. And this happens because a woman that deemed herself good had a life slip up and doesn't want to accept fault or blame. It's been said most people lie to save face. And in cases where the man is a good father and husband, and the woman slips up. Yes. I know there are many cases where the man slips up. But in this case, where the woman slips up, she has the blue card to rely on, so to speak. She doesn't have to admit her slip up, and can now blame the man and project on the man all of her sins. And our society lets it happen. And that's why you see such backlash when people stand up for the truth. Because it's like taking away their get out of jail free card. They may haven't had a reason to use it yet, but they want it there just in case. And they don't want anyone taking it away. But doing so not only helps out men, it helps out women. It helps out the real women that are victims at the hands of narcissistic and evil men. Because if there is some sort of check and balance regarding abuse claims, instead of believing people at face value, it gets rid of those running around throwing out assault claims like it's no big deal. I'm going to tell you something. Nearly every man has been in a room with a woman screaming at the top of her lungs. And the man was scared out of his mind he was going to get blamed for something he didn't do. This is something most, if not nearly all men have experienced at least once in their life. No matter if it were a young lady they were married to or dating, or a neighbor or a co-worker. What I want you to do is YouTube search "woman throws herself out of car." Hopefully you will find a compilation video of women screaming assault when no assault is taking place, or throwing themselves out of a car, so they can blame the man. These are situations men find themselves in, even if the woman presented herself as nice. But like I said, we are living in a corporation that wants to cut their workforce. And when men know what they are dealing with, and they know the juice isn't worth the squeeze, they walk away. And you can't tell them they are making a mistake either. Because if they walked back, they could be walking back to false assault claims, aggressive child support they don't have the money to pay, and alimony. But what you can do is throw a wrench in the engine of this corporation we live in. And that's stand up and rewrite the narrative. Read these books that are written about how to control a man, or how to get a man to marry you, and expose them for being narcissistically abusive. Rewrite the narrative. Push hard. And change the laws. Make it so these demons that throw around false abuse claims don't get lumped in with you, the real abuse victims. The rabbit hole is deep, everyone. It goes very, very deep. And this is something I will be talking more about. But it's something I want you to think about. We live in a corporation, people. We live in a matrix. They are deleting the good people one by one. They are destroying one good family after the next. Wake up, man and woman. Wake up. Stop defending these demons that want to see you dead, gone and forgotten. But stand up with the courage of David and slay the giant that is in front of you. Take your families and your life back. Expose the darkness and evil for what it is. And be a shining light. And an example for all to see.